Let's talk to us about Harry Kane. And he's the one centre-forward that England have that's world-class at this moment in time. We know that obviously there are a couple behind, like Callum Wilson, Ian Toney,
Ollie
Watkins. But what do you make of Harry Kane?
I mean, sort of like when we had him at Tottenham coming through, I remember looking at him when I first went to Tottenham. I said he had the intelligence of a Teddy Sheringham because he wasn't quick. So he always played as that number 10, that number 8, and he knew. And because he'd played under Chris Ramsey when he was coming through the ranks at Tottenham, Chris had played him as a 7, played him as an 11, played him as an 8, so that he could understand all the different positions. So what he had that intelligence to know that he weren't going to go in behind. So at times he'd come thicking up the midfield and we'd play with one up front and he would just operate in and around that place. And I said to him at the time, I said to Tim and Chris, he's got the shooting capabilities of Alan Shearer, but he's got the intelligence of Teddy Sheringham. And but I'm going to be honest, none of us saw him where he is today. We knew he'd have a career, didn't know whether it would be in the Premier League. Certainly for
weren't sure about it.
Weren't sure.
Was that off of the back of the loan moves in that? You wasn't getting like unbelievable.
Yeah, he weren't getting rave reviews. And I always remember him going to Norwich, and Chrissy Hughton was there. And so he came back, unfortunately broke his leg while he was at Norwich, and he came back. I remember calling Chrissy and said, look, how's it going? I said, been to watch him a few times, what you thought? And he went, well, he's not a number 9 in the sense of a Les Ferdinand, and he's not a number 10 in the sense of a Teddy Sheringham. He said, I think he's a 9.5. That's what he said. That's what he said. I think he's a 9.5. And then he went off to Leicester. And I remember watching him I went to watch him play at Leicester. And if you ever watch Harry Kane jog, he's not easy on the eye when he jogs. And I remember going to Leicester and I was standing in the crowd and that crowd were giving him a bit of stick because when he lost the ball, he'd jog him back. It looks like he's gasping for air.
And what age was he there, lads? When he was on loan at these clubs? Was he still like a kid?
Yeah, he was 19,
right, okay.
18, 19, 20, you know, and he came back from they fired him back from Leicester. And I remember calling him after the game at Leicester and I said to him, look, when you're going back, do me one favour. Either sprint or walk. Don't jog. And it's not, and because what he gives you everything he's got, but his jogging just doesn't look like you know, he looks like he's like. So I said, just either sprint or walk, guys. You know, and he's like, yeah. And then they fired him back. He came back to the training ground. I always remember it, and it was like something clicked inside him, and he realised whatever he was doing weren't enough. So he became the first player into the training ground. Wow. And when everybody had gone in the afternoon, he was in the gym, he was doing boxing, he was doing everything just to get his weight down, to get himself back in shape. And then when Tim took over as manager and he was chomping it to bit to get in the side. And
who was up front at the time? Was it Salgado?
Salgado was up front, and we was like, well, we can't. And the thing is that I always remember if Harry played, after 5-10 minutes, if he hadn't scored, they were singing Zelda, Zelda.
Yes.
And so we was protecting him. We was stopped because we didn't want him to go through that. But he was chomping it to bit, and then in the end we unleashed him, and he just started going, and he's just not